that was kind of my question, was on the sense of because I heard you say in the Oriental streams, was that what would really matter to you in that situation was what the pre-schism fathers taught, and I was just wondering if you had
Yeah.
like any.
Yeah, well, my position is that I need to hear all sides of the story to have an informed decision. And my position is such that even if the pre-schism fathers spoke of composite nature, so like let me just explain to you. If you have pre-schism fathers saying, speak of one composite nature, but then the later Christians spoke about two distinct natures, one person. For me, and this may sound to people as a cop-out, that's okay, I'm going to answer to the Lord. For me, I don't care how you slice and dice it. I'm not on the level of those great theologians, so I'm not trying to say I figure it out and I know more than them. For me, no matter how you slice and dice it, when you come to it, push comes to shove, I know it's going to offend some people. They're both affirming the same truth. What do I mean? Even the example that was given, when they said like Matthew 19, verses 4 to 6. The example, because that was the text that came up saying, when Jesus said, male and female, right? We become one flesh, quoting Genesis 2:24. They are no longer two. Now, does anyone think Jesus meant they're not actually two distinct physical bodies and two different physical genders? Anyone think that? So the male has become the female become the male? No, obviously not. So then, would I be wrong in saying they're two in one? No. Would I be wrong in saying they're one composite relationship? No. So we're both saying the same thing, even in this analogy. Are you with me there? Here it is, Jesus speaking. And he answered and said, have you not read that he who created them from the beginning made them male and female? And he said, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife. The two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Well, hold on. Would I be sinning in saying they are two different, distinct physical genders, two distinct physical beings, persons, right, who are united as one? Would I be sinning in saying that? No. Would I be sinning in saying they are now one composite union after concept? No. In other words, it's not a sin to articulate it either way. But Jesus said they're no longer two. Would I be sinning against the Lord by saying they are two different genders, two different persons, two different physical bodies, but when they come together, they are now united in such a way that they form one composite relationship? Would I be sinning?
No.
Because if you said I'm sinning, we got a problem. Because obviously Jesus is not denying Adam is not Eve, Eve is not Adam. Adam doesn't have the same physical body parts Eve does, vice versa. And Adam, he's not saying Adam has the same gender that Eve does. Similarly, when the Oriental Orthodox tell me one composite nature after the union, one composite will, they don't believe Christ's divine nature became fused into his human nature. So now they're mixed. So it's not truly divine, truly human. There's no fusion. That's not a third nature because they didn't fuse. It's still a uniquely divine nature and a uniquely human nature. But when they're united in that one person, that union is such, we don't speak of two, we speak of one composite nature. But even the word composite means there's a distinction. So why would it be wrong for other Christians later on to want to hammer the distinction that is now united in one person?
Yeah, and I saw in the like the unofficial agreed statements between the Orthodox churches that they were pretty much saying the same thing. I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess what it falls back on with me is obviously I have to answer before God, and as of right now, my family, they're, by the grace of God, they're following me, and we're deprived of the sacraments. So, you know, I mean, I'm not a part of a church to
What
take
was your
part.
background initially?
Pentecostal.
And what church are you attending now?
The Eastern Orthodox.
Okay, yeah, obviously they're not going to let you take it until you're Christian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we're deprived in that area.
Yeah, well, you know, God sees your heart. Let me tell you again how beautiful Jesus is. He sees your heart, right? He sees your aching for the Eucharist, but he knows that you can't disrespect the way the church has set it up. And as you ache for him and as you desire him and you're not resisting this, Jesus is so amazing and so mind-blowing that don't be surprised in your desire. He's still communicating to you in some mysterious way his flesh and blood to you. God can do that.
Certainly.
Trust him. He sees your heart. He's not going to condemn you for something that's beyond your control. It's not like you can have access to the Eucharist, but you don't want to take it. That would be sin. You're confessing, I'm aching for the sacraments, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're confessing?
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus sees your heart. He says, beloved, the fact that you ache and desire me and shows me your heart is in the right place, and I honor that, and I will still feed and nourish you in this mysterious spiritual communion and fellowship you have with me. Trust him. He's not going to condemn you, man. He's not that kind of God. This is the problem.
Yeah.
He's not that kind of God. He's not the kind of God. He's just waiting for one technicality to damn you. Wait. Yeah. That's not Jesus.
I appreciate it.
No, appreciate the Lord, because the Jesus that I've come to know, and many of us come to know, that beautiful, glorious, majestic Jesus of Scripture, who's the real Jesus of history, he went out of his way to save and forgive, to pardon and to transform. He went out of his way to the point that he got condemned by the religious hypocrites because he overturned social norms. I don't know if people know this, but if you've been watching my sessions, I want to remind you, Jesus destroyed social norms and taboos. For example, it was taboo for a rabbi to engage a woman. Jesus engaged women. It was a taboo for Jews to engage Samaritans. Jesus engaged Samaritans. He even engaged a Samaritan woman. Double taboo. And it was taboo for the Jews to enter into the homes of those who were defiled due to their customs or, the way they ate, and to sit down and associate with tax collectors and prostitutes. And Jesus went out of his way to those gatherings. He turned social norms, taboos upside down because he could care less about them. And he said, the hell with them, because I want to reach them where they're at and bring them and love them and meet them where they're at. That's who Jesus is. In fact, you know also what Jesus did that was unacceptable to the religious hypocrites? If you start reading Leviticus chapters 13 and 15. Start reading Leviticus, even 12, 13 and 15. There are rules and regulations preventing people from coming into contact with people with infectious skin disease. If you had leprosy, infectious skin disease, you were quarantined. You could not come near me. I couldn't come near you. Also, taboo to come near a woman with a flow of blood, whether from a menstrual cycle or because she had some sickness or ailment that caused her to bleed. She had to be quarantined. Go read the Gospels. Matthew chapter 8. A man with infectious skin disease comes to Jesus and says, if you're willing, I can be clean. Jesus said, I'm willing, be clean, and touched him, which was against the law. That's one. You read Matthew 9, which is also in Mark 5, which is also Luke 8. A woman with a bleeding disorder for 12 years secretly came and touched the fringes of his robe because she was afraid to be spotted out because of her flow of blood. She had to be quarantined. She reached Jesus and touched him, and then power left Jesus' body. That's Luke 8. You can read it, 40 all the way to 48. And knowing that power went out of his body, he said, who touched me? Disciples said, all this crowd has been pressing on you, touching you. You ask who touched me? He goes, power has left me. And it wasn't he was ignorant. He wanted to tell the woman, I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to embarrass you. Don't be ashamed to come to me and identify yourself. And he says, woman, your faith has saved you. She came because she knew, according to the law, she had to be quarantined. According to the law, she couldn't get near anyone. But she had so much love and faith in Jesus that if I just touch him, I'll be cured. That was her faith. And Jesus wanted to tell her, you don't have to hide from me. Don't be ashamed of me. See, I'm going to cry about that.